Have you ever noticed, my friends, that the moment you open your heart to someone, not everyone treats it with care. Some hold it gently, some drop it carelessly, and some, unfortunately, walk away as if it never mattered at all. Life, in its own quiet way, keeps teaching us this one lesson again and again. Not everyone who smiles at you is your well-wisher, and not everyone who listens to your pain has the maturity to protect. So today, let us pause and reflect upon a profound truth. Never hand over your weaknesses to just anyone. Because in the wrong hands, your weakness becomes their weapon, but in the right hands, it becomes your strength. Wisdom is not just about knowing what to share, it's about knowing whom to share it with. Let me ask you something very simple. When you buy a new phone, do you hand it over to anyone who asks for it? No. You protect it. You put a password on it. Why? Because it contains your photos, your contacts, your memories, the things that matter to you. Then why, my friends, do we hand over the password of our heart so easily? Why do we share our deepest secrets, our fears, and our struggles with people who haven't even earned the right to know our soul? You see, access is a privilege. We don't give the keys of our home to every stranger who walks by. Then why do we give the keys of our emotions to every listener who seems kind for a moment? Some people are curious, not caring. Some want information, not connection. And a few, sadly, are waiting for the right time to use what you shared as a weapon against you. Think about it. If you plant a seed in fertile soil, it grows into a tree. But if you throw that same seed on rocky ground, it will be crushed. In the same way, when you share your weakness with a genuine friend, a mentor, a guide, it becomes a seed for your growth. But when you share it with the wrong person, it gets trampled, mocked, or broadcasted to the world. Remember, my friends, it's not about how many people you share your heart with. It's about whom you choose to share it with. One sincere soul is worth more than 1,000 shallow sympathizers. Your weakness is your treasure. Guard it well. Protect it. Value it. Because once you hand it to the wrong person, your weakness no longer belongs to you. It belongs to them. And not every hand that holds your heart will hold it with care. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you're playing a game of cards. If you show your opponent your cards, will you win? Of course not. They win not because they are stronger, but because you gave away your power. That's what happens in life too. When we reveal our insecurities, our fears, and our wounds to the wrong people, we give them the power to wound us deeper. History teaches us the same. Many kingdoms did not fall because the enemy was powerful. They fell because the enemy knew the secret cracks in their wall. In life too, people don't always defeat us because they are better. They defeat us because we showed them where to strike. So be wise, be discerning, and remember, not everyone deserves access to you. My friends, tell me honestly, would you ever give your house key to every stranger who passes by your gate? Of course not. Because you know, once someone enters your space, they have access to what's precious inside. In the same way, not everyone deserves access to your emotional world. Your mind, your heart, your peace, these are sacred spaces. They are not public gardens for everyone to walk through. They are private sanctuaries to be entered with respect. Some people come into your life just to satisfy curiosity. They don't care about your feelings. They only want information. They ask questions not to understand you, but to evaluate you. And sometimes to gossip about you. A wise person once said, "Be careful who sits at your table, because not everyone who breaks bread with you wishes you well." There are three kinds of listeners in life. The curious, who listen to collect information. The critical, who listen to find faults. And the compassionate, who listen to understand and support. Sadly, most people belong to the first two categories. That is why discernment, the ability to differentiate between curiosity and care, is so important. Let me share a simple example. If you pour clean water into a dirty vessel, will the water remain pure? No matter how clean the source, the vessel determines the quality. Likewise, no matter how pure your intentions, if the person you share with has a polluted heart, your words will be misunderstood, misused, and misrepresented. This is why it's not about speaking less, it's about speaking wisely. It's not about being closed, it's about being careful. Because when you speak to the wrong ear, your truth becomes twisted. Think of it this way. When you whisper your pain to someone without discernment, you are giving them a weapon, not wisdom. And when the time comes, they might not use it to protect you, they might use it to pierce you. Let's go deeper. When a tree is young, it needs protection from wind and animals. Only when it grows strong can it stand alone in the open. Similarly, your dreams, your ideas, your emotions when they're new, fragile, and still growing need protection. Don't expose them to every passerby. Not everyone who claps for you is happy for you. Some clap just to count how many others are clapping. And not everyone who listens to your pain wants to heal you. Some just want to know so they can later remind you. So, don't feel guilty for building emotional boundaries. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are filters to keep your peace in. When you stop giving everyone access, you'll notice something magical. Your mind becomes calmer, your heart becomes lighter, and your peace becomes deeper. Because in truth, peace doesn't come from how many people you connect with. It comes from who you connect with deeply. Tell me honestly, my friends, haven't we all at some point trusted someone who later turned that trust into a wound? We opened our hearts, shared our secrets, spoke our pain, and later thought, why did I tell them this? It's not the sharing that hurts us, it's who we share it with. See, there's no danger in having weaknesses. Every one of us has them. The danger lies in exposing them to people who don't have the maturity to handle them with care. When you hand your weakness to the wrong person, it's like giving a sharp knife to a child. The knife itself isn't evil, but in untrained hands, it can wound rather than serve. The same happens with our emotions. When you place your pain, your fear, your story in the wrong hands, you might expect healing but receive hurt. And then what happens? The very words you spoke in confidence become the gossip of the gathering. Your private struggles become public jokes. Your tears become someone's entertainment. Have you seen how quickly sympathy turns into gossip in this world? Someone listens with wide eyes and a soft voice. Oh, really? That happened to you? And the moment you turn away, those same words become whispers elsewhere. My friends, not every shoulder that offers comfort is strong enough to carry your truth. Not every listener has ears that understand. Some have ears that only repeat. So what do? We learn to pause. We learn discernment. We learn the art of asking ourselves before speaking, if I share this, can it be used against me tomorrow? Does this person care for my healing, or are they simply curious about my story? Because curiosity without care is cruelty, and cruelty dressed as compassion is deception. Protect yourself not out of fear, but out of self-respect. Silence sometimes is not weakness, it's wisdom. Keeping things within is not pretending, it's protecting. Sharing doesn't always mean openness. Sometimes it means exposure. So speak wisely, because the wrong listener can turn your confession into your destruction. Let me give you an example. Would you ever hand over your ATM card and PIN to a stranger? You'd laugh at the idea. Why? Because you know you've worked hard for that money, and not everyone is trustworthy enough to handle it. Then why, oh why, do we hand over something even more valuable, our trust, our emotions, our personal stories, to people who haven't earned that privilege? Trust, my friends, is not free. It is sacred, it must be earned, but what happens? In our hunger for connection, in our desire to be understood, we pour our hearts out to the very first person who listens. And later, we watch our secrets scattered like broken glass across the streets of gossip. The problem isn't that people betrayed us, the problem is that we trusted too quickly. Trust is like a plant, it doesn't grow in a day. You water it, you nurture it, you watch how it survives storms. Only then do you sit under its shade. So before you pour your heart out, observe, do they keep others' secrets safe? Do they gossip about others when you're around? Because if they gossip to you, they will gossip about you. Don't trust promises, trust patterns. Don't trust words, trust consistency. People can say anything, but consistency reveals character. My friends, even thieves wear masks, and even liars can sound convincing. So build your boundaries not out of pride, but out of peace. My dear friends, peace is one of the most precious treasures of life, and privacy is the guardian that protects it. When too many people know too much about your life, your peace begins to leak through the cracks of opinions, comparisons, and judgments. You see, not everyone who watches you wishes you well, and not everyone who advises you actually understands your path. Let me share a small story with you. Once, a man planted a little sapling in his backyard. Every morning, he would quietly water it, smile at it, and speak to it softly. The plant began to grow beautifully. But one day, he told his neighbors about it. "Oh, I planted a beautiful sapling," he said proudly. The next morning, one neighbor said, "You're watering it too much." Another said, "No, you're watering it too little." Someone else said, "That's not the right soil." And another added, "It's growing in the wrong spot." Within weeks, the man became so confused by everyone's advice that he stopped trusting his own instincts. And the plant, which was once thriving, began to wilt. Isn't that what happens in our lives too? The moment we start sharing too much of our inner world, we invite an army of critics into our garden of peace. Their voices drown out our own. Their opinions replace our intuition, and our growth begins to fade. My friends, privacy is not about hiding, it's about protecting. Privacy doesn't say, "I'm afraid." It says, "I value my peace." When you keep some things to yourself, you are not being distant, you are being disciplined. When you choose silence over sharing, you're not being secretive, you're being strong. Because when everyone knows everything about you, you give the world the power to disturb your calm. Let's be honest, we don't need a crowd to understand us. We just need a few who truly care. And sometimes, even one you and God is enough. Peace doesn't come from exposure. Peace comes from preservation. In spirituality, silence is considered one of the greatest forms of strength. Because when you're silent, no one can twist your words. No one can misinterpret your intentions. And no one can misuse your emotions. Silence gives space for peace to grow. My friends, not everyone who listens to you listens with care. Some listen to compare. Some listen to criticize. Some listen just to share it elsewhere. So if peace is what you seek, privacy is the price you must pay. You don't need the whole world to know your every battle, your every feeling, your every tear. You just need one or two trusted souls, or even just your own quiet moment with God. Because when God knows your pain, He gives you peace. When the world knows your pain, it gives you pressure. The more you expose, the more restless you become. The more you protect, the more peaceful you remain. Privacy is not weakness, it is wisdom. Privacy is not isolation, it is inner insulation. And the moment you learn to guard your inner world, you will begin to taste the quiet sweetness of true peace. My dear friends, in life, not everyone who listens understands. Not everyone who smiles cares. And not everyone who is close protects. We live in a world where words travel faster than intentions. You may open your heart to someone, and the next day, your story becomes someone else's gossip. So be wise. Don't hand your weaknesses to those who see them as entertainment. Because not every ear deserves your pain, and not every heart knows how to hold your truth. When you share your weakness with the wrong people, you don't just lose peace, you lose power. And when you lose power, you lose focus. Learn from nature, a tree doesn't whisper its cracks to the wind. It silently grows stronger from within. Even the sun hides behind the clouds before it shines again. My friends, There's beauty in quiet healing. There's strength in silent endurance. And there's wisdom in keeping certain things between you and God. Those who truly love you will sense your struggle without you saying a word. They will stand with you in silence, and their presence will speak louder than any sympathy. So protect your energy, preserve your privacy, and remember, you don't need to announce your pain to prove it's real. You just need to rise from it, quietly and gracefully. Let your silence speak your strength. Let your peace be your protection, and let your growth be your answer. Because true warriors don't shout about their battles. They simply heal, rebuild, and keep walking. Stronger than before, wiser than before, and quieter than ever before.